Yo, what's happening, y'all? It's your man Valentine, baby. Coming from on the grind. It's the home edition, y'all. And it's what, the 14th day of protests and everything over George Floyd's murder, execution, lynching, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I think today is a public viewing. Tomorrow he gets laid to rest. You know what I mean? And for all the people who are marching, continue marching, man. You know, you have to do something to make change. And to make all these people feel uncomfortable, so be it. You got to do it. You know what I mean? Now, today, I'm gonna dive into the NFL and Roger Goodell, and then Drew Brees. Man, that dude upset me. Brees is one of my dudes, man. I love that dude. But oh my goodness, I don't understand, is what I'm saying. I don't understand. How is it that it's 4 years since Colin Kaepernick and everyone else has been kneeling. So you're basically telling me that for 4 years, you didn't see anybody else kneeling, that you can ask the question, yo, why are the brothers kneeling? And yet, you got to come up with something to say, anybody who's kneeling, I can't side with, or whatever you said. I was like, what? This dude must have been living under a rock. And this is the only thing I'm thinking is, this dude was living under a rock. Because there must have been cats on his team that were kneeling as well. And he never looked around to say, oh man, what's wrong with those? Why are those brothers kneeling? But yet you got to come up 4 years later and sit there and say what you said. And you see, the only thing is, you shouldn't even have had to apologize. You should have looked around and asked, what is going on? Why are you brothers kneeling? If you didn't know what the reason was. I mean, that was so upsetting, man, because I love that dude. And I love New Orleans. Because Brees was my dude. But you know what, man, after that, man, listen, you don't want your legacy to be tarnished, yo. So it doesn't matter what you said or the apologies that you came up with. What means more now is what you do moving forward. Because that is how your legacy is gonna be remembered. Because you don't want to be remembered as Drew Brees, the all-time leading NFL passer. Oh, wait a minute, asterisk. You remember when he said blah, blah, blah? You don't want that dude. So you need to get yourself together, homie, and make sure that you can now make amends, because the apology, it don't go far enough for me. You need to now step up and let us see you doing something to make change. And especially in New Orleans. You know what I mean? And across the league, because I don't know how the brothers are going to play with you after all that. I know you got to throw it to them, so they got to catch it. But man, before the season starts, homie, you need to get down. You need to start digging to get this, to be able to brush that off your shoulder. Because if you don't, you will be remembered for what you said. You know what I mean? And then we got to go with, Roger Goodell, man. Listen, Mr. Goodell, this is my thing to you. Now that you've got out from under these puppet slave masters who've been doing this to you, because all these people who were controlling you were basically slave masters, man, because they didn't want to let the brother come back to play. But now you got control. So now it's going to also matter to see what you do. Because, listen, you are a big deal. And we know that. But you know what? You coming out and saying that we were wrong. The NFL was wrong. I don't even understand how you didn't see that from before. But because these people who I call the puppet slave masters were controlling things, you had no say, but now you do. So again, do not tarnish your legacy, man. It's not what you didn't do before. It's now what you do now. So you need to step up and apologize to Colin Kaepernick and all the other cats who are kneeling. That's where you got to go first, because that is a big thing. Because if you can't do that, whatever you can do right now means nothing. Because you need to apologize to these cats, man, and especially Kaepernick. And how you gonna get him back into the league? You know what I mean? How's that mean? You know, Jerry Jones, Robert Kraft. You know y'all was out there giving money to Trump's, you know, out there on the campaign trail. I mean, come on now. If you side with this dude, either it's just like if you believe that what happened to George Floyd should happen to every black American or anybody of color, you need to sit there and give up the ownership to your team. And it's just like every police that think, if they think that should happen to every black American, everybody of color, they need to hand in their badge. Because you know you were racist then. So this is what I'm saying to y'all. Y'all need to come correct, man. Y'all need to stand together. Stand with Roger Goodell and come out and say, look, we was wrong. And get your man Kaepernick back on the team. Because racism is in all sports. Believe me. It's everywhere, man. And it irritates me that this has to happen. Because I love the NFL. But we all knew y'all was wrong. And it took some time for y'all to come correct. So now it's time for y'all to do justice, man. And do what was supposed to be done 4 years ago. Bring the brother back. You know what I mean? Man. Unbelievable. Yo, remember, we still going through a pandemic, y'all. So anyone who's marching, man, get out there with a mask. Try to social distance. I mean, do the best you can. But remember, this is 402 years. You know what I mean? So this is not gonna go away quietly. And that's the key. Y'all just gotta keep on marching. But march safely. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Wow. It's emotional each and every single time. Anyway. Tomorrow, man, you know, I want y'all to think about this one. I want y'all to think about implicit bias. Because I'm going to ask y'all the question about bias, man. That's what I'm going to do. You feel me? Because it just goes on and on. We need to stop systemic racism, institutionalized racism. You need to do police reform, community reform, social reform, something. You know what I mean? We need to make sure things change. And it doesn't just take black people. It takes white people. It takes everybody. Everybody has to stand up to change. And it's time. You know what I mean? It's time to stop running. And it's time to fight racism, y'all. Yo, if you think it's your time to shine, you need to get on the grind with your man Valentine, baby. Yeah. Holla.